Welcome. My name is Nikki Veit, rhymes with might. I own my own training business called NV Strong, and today I'm going to tackle the question, why does the first set always feel harder than the following sets? And what we are referring to when I say sets is the idea of when you're doing a working set, when you're training, maybe you're doing 3 sets of dumbbell chest press. And often a lot of my clients will say that that first set is always the hardest compared to the second and the third sets. So I'm going to tackle that with a little bit of science and a little bit of analogies and just break it down. Now, a little bit of jargon that I want to break down and define for y'all is the difference between warm-up sets and working sets. Warm-up sets should always happen before working sets. Now, warm-up sets are literally how they sound. You are warming your body up to the movement at hand. So again, with our dumbbell chest press example, let's say you can handle 30-pound dumbbells for sets of 5 to 10 repetitions, right? But you're not necessarily going to go from 0 pounds, literally not doing the movement, to 30 pounds. You want to warm up to that 30-pound weight because that's going to be pretty heavy if your body is not used to it. So you're going to start with a set of maybe 10-pound dumbbells or 20-pound dumbbells. Maybe you do 2 sets. Maybe you do a warm-up set with the 10-pound dumbbells and a second warm-up set of the 20-pound dumbbells before going on to your working sets with the 30-pound dumbbells. In typical training jargon, when we are saying, hey, you're going to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions, we are referring to those 3 as your working sets. We are not including your warm-up sets here. This is where my clients get a little pissy with me because I'm going to say, all right, we're going to do a 3rd set of those 30-pound presses. And they're like, what do you mean? We just did 3 sets. I'm like, we're not including that warm-up set where you just press 20 pounds for 10 reps, okay? That was our warm-up set. We are only counting our working sets because that is when your body is working to the proper amount of load and tension. Now, my first thought, to speak on a human-to-human level as opposed to like a teacher-to-student level, is think about that first time you're trying any new item of food or a drink, right? So it's a unique piece of food. It's been given to you maybe by a culinary expert, and they're like, I'd love for you to try this. It's something new that I'm experimenting with. Well, you may not know what to expect at all. It could be sour, it could be sweet, it could be spicy, it could be hot and burn your mouth. So you're going into that first bite blind, so to speak, right? So that first bite might totally take you aback, right? Oh my gosh, it's a flavor explosion in my mouth. Whoa, so much is going on. I'm kind of freaked out by it, right? Whereas that second bite that you go for, assuming you liked it and you're ready for that second bite, already then your body, your mind, your literal psychology knows what to expect. It has some familiarity. So that second bite is a bit more like, okay, I've warmed up to this. I know what it's going to feel like. I know what it's going to taste like. I know how my taste buds are going to react. I'm ready to go for that second bite and really determine how I feel about this item of food. I want you to compare that event to approaching your sets in the gym, right? So that first set of dumbbell chest press, let's say you're using 20-pound dumbbells. It's still in the first 20 minutes of your workout, so you're still warming up. Your body is like, woo, that's a lot going on. Maybe it feels heavy, maybe it feels light, but your body is a little unfamiliar with the movement. So the first reaction is a little taking you aback. That first bite of food is, wow, that's a flavor explosion in my mouth. And I'm just kind of going through the movement, seeing if I like it or if I don't like it today. How's my body responding today? Are my shoulders feeling tight? Are my triceps feeling sore? Is anything feeling off? And that gives your body the opportunity to kind of adjust before going into the second and third sets, where you're automatically going to feel more familiar with the weight and the exercise itself but also you're gonna feel more confident because now you know what to expect. You're not going into the movement or the weight blind anymore. You're like, okay, I just did that maybe 1 minute ago, maybe 2 minutes ago, so I know what to expect for the second set, and I feel that much more confident, ready to try it out. Now, to dive into a bit more of the science behind training, to understand what's happening on a physiological level within your body, I'm gonna bring up a slide. Boom, there it goes. That was fancy. And let's take a gander, if you will, starting with neuromuscular efficiency, the ability of the nervous system to recruit correct muscles, including your agonists, your antagonists, your synergists, and your stabilizers, to produce force, reduce force, and dynamically stabilize the body's structure in all 3 planes of motion. That's defined by NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It is an organization that certifies personal trainers. And I want to link this idea of neuromuscular efficiency as this idea of familiarity, right? So if you're someone who has been training consistently for 5+ years, what I mean by that is you're showing up weekly to the gym, multiple days a week, 3 to 6 days a week, and that means you're probably doing dumbbell chest press 1, 2, or even 3 days a week in that weekly program, and you've built up over 5 years of this. So your body's become extremely familiar with this movement. It knows what 20 pounds feels versus what 30 pounds feels, and it knows exactly where you need to plant your feet, how much you need to arch your back, where on the bench your butt needs to be in relation to your upper back, and it knows exactly where you want to angle your elbows to receive the weight on the descent and to resist the weight on the ascent part of that movement, right? So you have literally built up your neuromuscular efficiency because your CNS has increased pathways. It has more experience telling your muscles to recruit when it needs to recruit and how much it needs to recruit to literally resist that force. And finally, there's energy demand. The consumption of energy by human activity, or in a nutshell, the amount of energy needed for the body to perform specific tasks, aka exercise. Now, when it comes to energy demand, how we're going to fit this into the context of this conversation is, look, when you first enter the gym, your body's not doing all that much, right? So the energy demand is very low. Like literally you entered the room, maybe you start some stretching or foam rolling or mobility work. Energy demand is quite low, right? But as you get into those first warm-up sets, the energy demand is increasing, right? So the difference between the energy needed to press 20-pound dumbbells versus the energy needed to press 30-pound dumbbells. There is an increase in energy demand for those 30-pound dumbbells, but at that point, you're warmed up, your body is ready to produce the force needed for those 30-pound dumbbells. You do not want to enter the gym and go from doing nothing to pressing your heaviest weight. That is where injuries occur. That is what's called not smart training, because you are not warming up, and not only is your body physically cold and not ready for that movement, but your CNS is also not prepared to be communicating properly to your muscles, telling them when to contract and how much force is required to resist that load. So, to wrap this all up, the question was, why does my first set always feel harder than my following sets? That first set should be a taste test, if you will, right? Because our body needs to learn what it's doing, what it's experiencing, how it feels in general in response, whether something feels tight or sore, it's still testing out the waters. So I highly encourage you to make that first set lighter and a warm-up set, okay? So that by the time that you get to your first working set, your body has had the experience already of doing 1, 2, sometimes as many as 3 or 4 warm-up sets, and your CNS is properly firing on all cylinders and communicating to your muscles to properly be firing off and recruiting the fibers necessary to resist the load. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I hope you learned something and you enjoyed the content. Please, 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 more than anything, I'd love if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel to keep these videos coming. I want to make sure that these are worthwhile and approved by your liking. And on that note, please like and share the video for anyone that might have asked you this question. And let's just keep the world turning with some education and empowerment. Now go out there and lift some heavy weights.